So I was watching a sermon the other day, and in the sermon, the pastor was saying, oh, it was a sermon by Darius Daniels. And he basically was saying in the sermon that sometimes you're waiting not because God doesn't think you're ready and that he doesn't think that you can handle what he's about to give you. Sometimes the waiting period is because he has to get your attitude together. He got to reel in that bad temper. So he used the reference of the story of David, and he basically said that like David was used to fighting all his life. Like David was anointed to be king, but didn't become king immediately because David had a little temper on him. And God knew David had a temper on him because he said David used to sleep with a knife under his pillow. David was used to slaying bears and lions and killing giants. And he said that when you're used to being a killer, you will often, attack when somebody comes at you, and it wasn't worth your level of attack is not worth all that it needed. So he had to reel that in and get him to actually control it before he could bring him to Saul and make him king. Because when he actually got to the kingdom and he had to deal with once Saul realized that he had favor on his life and he was there to take his position, Saul started coming at him with arrows and daggers and doing little sneaky things to get at him. But David was so controlled with his temperament that those things didn't bother him. Whereas in the past, before David had to sit down and wait, David would have came at him like he was slaying a lion or a bear, and it didn't need all of that because God already had it under control. So I said all that to say that sometimes you're waiting because that temper is a little bit too crazy, and God is, building up your endurance for BS, so that when you actually get to that level of where you're running things or you're the leader of something, that when somebody says something to you that triggers you, you don't try to murk them.